go through and make my journals when I am making a handmade journal. So I always start with a file folder. This is just a regular file folder cut to the size that I want, and then you'll notice that I have a pile of different pages, painted, inked, some are just vintage ephemera, and I am going through and I am folding them and just kind of making them the size that I want to fit into my journal. You'll notice here that I'm tearing the edge. I love torn paper more than I do just regular edges. Sometimes I tear them as I go, and sometimes I tear them when I make the book. So right now I'm looking for another piece. I really love ledger paper, and I thought that was a full piece. So I found this inky paper. It's obviously not ledger paper, but I really want that ledger paper, so I'm going back in my stack, and you'll notice that I hit my camera, so I sped up this to just show you kind of how I go through and just fold my pieces. So I apologize, you see my pens and my messy desk. So I'm just folding all of these pages. This is tissue paper that I have put watercolor on. I love the texture of it, and I think that it adds a neat element to any journal. So now I have all my pieces. I folded them. You'll notice some are ripped, some are not. And then I go back through and I just start to piece them together. I always start with my largest pieces because I want them to kind of make up the basic size of the book. They're all not the same size, but they're the biggest pieces that I have to work with. And so then I just go through and I decide what do I want in the middle, and I work back from there. And so you'll see me kind of fitting them together, vintage pieces as well as painted. I love color, but I absolutely love the vintage paper. And so they just make a really great mix, and the neutrals always just kind of make your work pop and bring lots of interest to your work. So I just love having that vintage paper in there. So here I am just kind of looking to see, do I like how this layout is going to look? And then I always start in the center of my book, because in the center of my book I usually will do like just one double page. And so what do I want that to look like? And so I start there, and then you'll notice I'm just kind of building, putting colors and textures that I like together, sometimes a neutral and then a pop. And you'll notice that when I have a vintage page, I'll put a piece of color by that. So I just go through and continue to piece this together. And sometimes I refold things, sometimes I rearrange things, but I just go through and see that I like the pages in that order. Sometimes I'll go through now and tear, just again to give some visual interest. Sometimes I do that once the book is already created. So that's really about it. I'll go through and do one more quick look through before I bind it and see if I really like how these are coming together. And if I do, then I just bind it up. And that is how I make my little journals. Thanks for watching.